Opening scene, Summer Night Fantasy. It was a warm summer night in South Carolina, and Luke had just finished watching Peter Pan for the 5th time that month. He clutched Snappy tight as he looked out his bedroom terrace at the glowing stars, wishing just once he could fly to Neverland.
I bet Peter Pan would be my friend, he whispered before closing his eyes.
A soft breeze rustled the curtains. Glittering dust twinkled in the moonlight. And suddenly, whoosh! Luke felt himself lift gently off his bed, floating higher and higher until he was flying. He couldn't believe what had happened and was surprised. He sat on the bed for a moment. Then, from above, a joyful laugh rang out.
Come on, Luke. We don't want to miss the fun. It was Peter Pan, hovering in the air, arms crossed and grinning. Luke's eyes went wide. Peter, is this real? As real as dreams can be. Peter winked, tossing some golden pixie dust toward him. Let's go to Neverland.
Flying to Neverland, the stars blurred past them like a river of diamonds. They soared over glowing clouds, racing dolphins in the sky, and even past a sleepy moon that waved at them.
Luke giggled and did a loop midair, yelling, "This is better than roller coasters!" Peter led the way, pointing ahead. There it is!
And just like that, Neverland appeared an island filled with sparkling lagoons, glowing jungles, floating waterfalls, and swirling colors that shimmered like a painting. There were pirate ships, flying fish, tiny fairies zooming around like fireflies, and distant drums echoing from tree houses high in the sky.
Luke's jaw dropped. Wow! It's more beautiful than I imagined.
The Lost Boys and Hide-and-Seek Jungle. Their first stop was the Lost Boys hideout, built inside a giant tree with twisting slides and rope bridges.
A group of boys Luke's age and older peeked out. New kid? One of them asked. Peter clapped Luke on the shoulder. He's cool. He dreamed his way here.
Soon, they were all playing hide-and-seek through the jungle. Luke giggled as he hid behind a mushroom that sneezed glitter when touched. One of the boys tried to hide in a tree, but a curious parrot squawked his name, giving him away. Another boy tripped into a mud puddle and laughed when he landed.
When Luke was it, he followed glowing fairy footprints that led him to Peter Pan, who turned invisible and flew away. "Cheater!" Luke shouted, laughing so hard he had to sit down.
Mermaid Lagoon and singing fish. After the games, Peter took Luke to the Mermaid Lagoon, where glowing waters shimmered in all colors of the rainbow. The mermaids swam up and greeted Luke, offering him seashell necklaces and bubbles that smelled like strawberries. One mermaid showed him a pearl that sang lullabies when held close. Luke dipped his feet into the water and was surprised when a fish popped up wearing sunglasses and started singing jazz. Soon, dozens of fish joined in dancing, clapping fins, and turning the lagoon into a glowing underwater concert.
Peter leaned over and whispered, "The fish are always more musical in dreams." Pirate trouble and ticking clocks suddenly boom. A cannonball splashed near the lagoon. "It's Captain Hook," Peter said, eyes narrowing with glee.
A large pirate ship was approaching, with Hook at the helm, shouting, "Peter Pan, show yourself, you flying green menace!" Luke's heart raced. "Is he dangerous?"
"Only if you take him seriously," Peter replied, flying upside down and sticking out his tongue. Peter and Luke soared toward the ship. Luke clutched his cape tighter.
On board, Hook was pacing while Mr. Smee polished a cannon and muttered, "Why do we always attack during Peter's nap time?" Luke landed softly on the deck, right behind Hook, and tapped him. Boo! Hook jumped and dropped his sword. "Ah, a new child! You've brought reinforcements?"
Luke puffed his chest. "I'm Luke the Brave," he shouted.
Just then, Snappy, his plush crocodile, magically grew larger and started ticking like the real crocodile that once chased Hook.
Hook screamed and dove into a barrel. Peter laughed so hard he floated sideways. "Luke, you're a natural."
The Sky Castle and the Wishing Stars. As the sun set in Neverland, Peter took Luke up to the Sky Castle, a floating citadel made of clouds and moonlight. They sat on a soft ledge, eating dream pie, which tastes like your favorite food and changes every bite. Luke switched from pizza to strawberries to pancakes to macaroni and cheese.
Do you always come here? Luke asked. Only when someone believes, Peter said, tossing a pebble into a star pool below them. Neverland needs dreamers to stay alive.
Luke looked up. The sky was filled with wishing stars, each one representing a child's dream.
He saw one shaped like a dragon, another like a roller coaster, and even one that looked like a giant ice cream cone. I don't ever want to leave, Luke whispered.
Peter smiled gently. Dreams don't last forever, but the memories do.
Saying goodbye, Peter flew Luke back to where the stars met the clouds. Will I see you again? Luke asked.
Peter hovered in place, his feather twitching. Whenever you dream, and whenever you believe, you've got the heart of a lost boy, Luke. That means you're part of Neverland now. Peter gave him a final sprinkle of pixie dust, and Luke began to float downward, gently drifting like a falling feather. Tell your parents, Peter called, and never stop believing.
Morning light and magic remembered. The next morning, Luke woke up in his bed, the sun peeking through his curtains. Snappy was tucked under his arm, still ticking softly.
His pajamas were dusted with glitter. He ran down the hall in his red cape shouting, "Mom! Dad! You won't believe what happened!"
At breakfast, Luke told the whole story. The flying, the hide and seek, the fish concert, the pirate battle, and the sky castle.
His parents smiled, wide-eyed, as he jumped on his chair, reenacting Peter's flying tricks. "And Peter said I was a real lost boy," Luke declared proudly.
His mom kissed his forehead. "That's because you have the biggest imagination in the world." Luke glanced out the window. A single golden feather sat on the windowsill. He grinned.
Peter Pan had been real, and he would be waiting in the next dream.